Hello, everyone. Really big apologies for the big delay in starting. And I'm really sorry for letting you wait so much, but we had a little bit of challenges with the interpretation setting. So I think we are all fine now to start. And I'm letting people in for the moment. But first of all, just housekeeping information. We will have two settings in languages. The main room where participants will speak in their own language, and then we will have the interpretation from English to Sinhala and from Sinhala to English, and then we will have the interpretation from Arabic to English and from English to Arabic. The only thing you have to do is, if you are on a laptop or PC, you just click on the globe that says interpretation and choose the language you want to hear. So if you want to listen into English, just tune into the English channel. So it will be much easier. You will hear everything in English. And if you're on a smartphone, you will see 3 dots somewhere. And you click on the 3 dots and it will appear the interpretation option, and choose English or the language that you want. And okay, so this session will be recorded, so you shouldn't, if you have to leave a little bit earlier, I apologize again, but you will be able to watch it later. And just a small reminder for speaker to speak slowly. And so the interpreters can translate everything in time. So I will just do a small introduction because we don't have much time, and then we will go straight to the documentaries, streaming, and to the presentations from our speakers. And I'm really happy to have them with us. Our speakers are today are Sajiva Chamikara, who works at MONLAR in Sri Lanka, who is a long-standing partner of War of Want. Then we have also ATTAC Peasants, who is apologize for my pronunciation, the member of the CADTM Maroc, is the provincial bureau of the Democratic Labor Union, which is affiliated to the Federation of Democratic Unions in Morocco. And she's particularly responsible for all the women's work in the union. And then today we were expecting Omar, but for personal reason, he couldn't join us. And so Ali Aznagas stepped in to make the presentation. Ali Aznag is the coordinator of the network CIADA, who was formerly called the North African Network for Food Sovereignty, and also member of ATTAC CADTM Maroc. So the reason why we are here is that we want to show the work that our partners are doing in building food sovereignty alternatives all around the world. And the right to food is a fundamental human right, but the current model of food production is failing to deliver this right. Even though there is food grown to feed the world's population twice over, millions are going hungry, food insecure, or malnourished. The current global food system is not designed to feed people, but is designed to maximize profits for handful or corporations. So the rights to land, the right to work, to a safe and healthy work environment, the right to seeds are also some of these human rights that have been recently affirmed as new or reaffirmed by the UN declarations of the rights of peasants and other people working in rural areas, which is called UNDROP. We will discuss some of these rights today with our partners. These rights are under attack and must be defended against the advancement of policy agendas and systemic practices that see human life and nature as assets and commodities that exist solely to further corporate profits. Despite the crises and challenges of today's global food system, there is still plenty of room for hope, because there are peasant movements gathered around networks like La Via Campesina, which represents 200 million peasants around the world, introduced the concept of food sovereignty 25 years ago. These networks are growing and connecting different struggles, organizing together in important policy spaces and winning crucial battles. The adoption of the UN drop in 2018 by the United Nations is an example, as it was the result of a long struggle by peasant movements and civil society, and a great, huge win. The UN drop is the result of 17 years of struggle and negotiation by peasant movements around the world, and it is the first declaration of its kind that has been written by peasants and for peasants. Even though the UN drop is not legally binding, it is an important recognition of peasants' human rights and an instrument for peasant movements and organizations to campaign for these rights, to be translated into national policies and legislation, as well as to claim their rights before the courts. Our recent report, Profiting from Hunger, Popular Resistance to Corporate Food Systems, shows some of the most important changes and the challenges of the last decade, as well as the practical alternatives that are being built all around the world, but also the rights that are being defended by peasants and workers' movements around the world. We wanted to discuss this with our partners, and so show you two short documentaries with the direct testimonies of the struggles and the strategies, and then hear also from the speakers. So without further ado, I would like to show first our first documentary from Sri Lanka. And then we will give the voice to the word to Sajiva for the presentation. So if
Sri Lanka is a biodiversity hotspot, with swathes of tropical rainforest, which for hundreds of years provide a sustainable livelihood for its inhabitants. However, Sri Lanka's strategic island location in the middle of the Indian Ocean led to waves of Portuguese, Dutch and British colonizers seeking to extract Sri Lankan resources for profit, rather than preserve the natural environment and the sustainable agricultural practices that existed at the time. British colonizers implemented an export-oriented economy, clearing vast swathes of rainforests for timber and crop plantations, such as tea. Since gaining independence in 1948, Sri Lanka has continued this export-oriented model, despite passing laws to protect rainforests and wildlife. Cannelia is a lowland tropical rainforest in the southwest of Sri Lanka, and one of the most biodiverse hotspots in South Asia. In 2004, UNESCO declared Cannelia a biosphere reserve. During British colonial rule, areas of the Cannelia rainforest were cleared to make way for a lucrative rubber plantation called the Homadola Estate, near the village of Homadola.
ඒ වගේ මේ මෝකලාන රැකගන්න අපි මේ උනන්දු වෙන්නේ මේකෙන් අපිට ලැබිලා තියෙන වාසි අප්‍රමාණයි පිරිසිදු වාතය ජලය වගාවට මේ සතුන් එන්න නැතුව මේ සතුන් මේ වනාන්තරයේ ප්‍රදේශයේ රැඳෙන එකකින් ඒ වගේ දේවල් වලින් මේ අපිට ලොකු වාසියක් කම්මු විදියට වෙලා තියෙනවා ඒ නිසා තමයි අපි මේ කොහොමද මොකලාන රැක ගන්න උත්සාහ කරන්නේ. මේක සුදු ජාතිකයෝ
ඒව සුද්ධ කරන්න හදනවා. අපි ඉල්ලන්නේ මේක තාමත් මේ ගම්වාසීන්ට තමන්ගේ අම්මා වගේ මුලින් ඉඳලම කලින් ඉඳලම ප්‍රයෝජනවත් වෙච්ච කන්දක්.
Today, this state is a palm oil plantation run by the Vatavalla Plantations Corporation.
ඇත්තටම මේ අප ගම්මානයේ තියෙන ලොකුම තර්ජනයක් වෙලා තියෙන මේ කටුපොල් වගාවෙන් දැනට අවුරුදු 10කට විතර පෙර ලොකු අරගලයක් කළා උඩුගම ජනතාව විසින් ලොකු අරගලයක් කළා අප ගම්මානයේ තිබිච්ච දල බෑවුම් සහිත ලඩු කැලෑව අපි රැකගෙන ආවා දැනට අවුරුදු 10ක් විතර.
Since 10
Now,
years, we have
villagers' access to water is under threat. The establishment of the Humadola Estate rubber plantation and its recent transition to palm oil have encroached upon and destroyed the surrounding rainforest.
සීමාවක් තුළ ඒ කියන්නේ මුලින් මේක කටුපොල් වගා කරගෙන එනකොට අප වතුර හිඳිනවා කියන මතයේ ඉන්න විට අපිට ඒ ආයතන විසින් හෙක්ටයාර් 16 විතර ප්‍රමාණයේ කෑල්ලක් ගම්මානේ මිනිසුන්ට ජලපෝෂිත ප්‍රදේශයක් විදියට අයින් කළා වන වගාව කළා අයින් කරගත්ත භූමියක් තමයි මේ වෙනකොට මේ නැවත පොල් වගාව සඳහා යොදා ගන්න හදන්නේ. ඉතින් මේ දැන් වට ගණනාවකටම මේ පොල් වගාව සඳහායි ගියා. බොරු මුවා පාමින් අප ගෙවල් වලට උඩින් තියෙන මේ වනාන්තරය සුද්ධ කරන්න විටින් විට
Small naturally forming pools of water within Camellia rainforest have provided the main source of water for villages living in the area since pre-colonial times.
අපද්‍රව්‍ය දානවා කටුපොල් වවන්න දාන අපද්‍රව්‍ය කටුපොල් වලින් අයින් කරන ද්‍රව්‍ය ඒව දිනෝල්ලා දැන්ට ගියත් බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් සංගවල වගේ දාන්නේ ඒ දෙන්නේ ඒව හොදගෙන මේ පහලට ගලාගෙන එමින් මිනිසුන්ට වතුර බොන එකේ ප්‍රශ්නයක්
වගාවන් දැන් ඒවට වල්නාශක යොදන පහළ ලිං පාවිච්චි කරන්න බැරි මට්ටමට එනවා. මොකද වල්නාශක යොදන නිසා ලිං වල ජලය බීමට නුසුදුසු තත්ත්වයටපත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, amidst the government-imposed curfews, Vatavalla Corporation began encroaching on the tropical rainforest bordering Humadola village, clearing 15 hectares for a palm oil plantation.
ක්‍රමශීලී ලෙස එක්කෝ ඇඳිරි නීති තියෙන අවස්ථාවේ කොරෝනා ඇඳිරි නීති අවස්ථාවේ එහෙම නැත්නම් කටේ මොනවා හරි වෙනත් දෙයකට වෙනත් කාරණයකට විශේෂ අවධානයක් යොමු වෙච්ච අවස්ථාවලදී වගේ අවස්ථාවලදී මේ පහුගිය මේ උද්ඝෝෂණ සීමා කාල සීමාවේදී වගේ අවස්ථාවලදී මේකේ කොටස් නැවත මේ වාණිජ වගාව සඳහා හෙළිපෙහෙළි කරන්න මේගොල්ලෝ
Native trees were felled, huge 30-foot platforms were built, and the area was planted with monocrop palm trees. The villagers' water sources were polluted with chemical pesticides and factory waste. Seeking justice against this illegal expansion, villagers contacted the media but received little attention, as Vatavalla is a major donor to national media companies.
වතුයායෙන් ඉතා ක්‍රක්මශීලීම් ලෙස මේව කරන ගන්න අපේ ගම්වාසීන්ගෙන් බිලිබෑ ගැනීමේ වගේ කටයුතු කරගනිමින් කතා කරන ඉන්න මිනිස්සුන්ගේ කතාව නිහඬ කරමින් පොලිසියට ගියොත් පැමිණිල්ලක් බාර නොගන්න තරමට ගෙනල්ලා මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් හම්බෙන්න ගියොත් මන්ත්‍රීවරයා අපේ කතාව අහන්න නැති තැනට ගෙනල්ලා මාධ්‍යට ගියොත් මාධ්‍යෙන් අපේ දෙයක්
The local villagers formed an organization called Prana, meaning life, to protect their rights. They were soon contacted by MONLAR, the Movement for National Land and Agricultural Reform.
උත්සාහ කරනවා. ඒකකින් තමයි මේ දැවැන්ත සටනක් අපි ගම්මු විදියට ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා මේක රැක ගන්න උත්සාහ කරන්නේ.
කරන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා. අපි ඉතින් ගම්වාසී මහා සංඛ්‍යාවක් නෑ. නමුත් මේ ගෙවල් 200ක විතර පමණ මේකේ ප්‍රයෝජන ගන්න කියන වතුරේ පමණ ප්‍රයෝජන ගන්නවා ගෙවල් 200ක.
MONLAR works to redress the colonial policies that have devastated Sri Lanka's land and people, and to resist the continuing exploitative and neo-colonial approach to land and farming. MONLAR introduced the local villagers to its network of lawyers and social and environmental activists, while training and educating villagers in agroforestry and agroecology, a set of agricultural practices that mimic natural processes to protect water sources and soil from contaminating chemicals. With MONLAR's assistance, Prana compiled a comprehensive report on the plantation's impact on forests, wildlife and natural water sources in Humadola and presented its findings to the Sri Lankan government.
ප්‍රයෝජනවත් වෙච්ච කන්දක් මේක කැලෑවක් විදියට තියෙන්නේ මේක සුද්ධ කරන්න නොදී අපේ ගම්වාසීන්ට මේක රක්ෂිතයක් ලෙස හඳුන්වනවා වෙන් කරලා දෙන දේ තමයි අපි අදාළ බලධාරීන්ගෙන් ඉල්ලන්නේ.
None of the few government replies provided any resolution to the continuing destruction of rainforests and water supplies. Separately, after forcing local authorities and Vatavala's management to the negotiation table, Prana managed to temporarily halt the advancement of the plantation and the destruction of the forest. This is an important victory for grassroots organizing. However, the future of Canelia and rainforests across Sri Lanka remains uncertain. Without written documentation of the decision taken at this meeting, villagers fear the Vatavala could resume its illegal encroachment at any time. Members of the Prana group have received personal threats, and some members who work for the Humadola estate, which dominates employment opportunities in the area, have been fired. The struggle of Humadola's villager is crucial, as it may well provide a blueprint for similar conflicts across Sri Lanka. In the town of Bivile, located in one of the poorest regions in Sri Lanka, a similar struggle is taking place. The new Bivile sugar plantation project, which is backed by millions of US dollars in foreign investment, is being opposed by a national people mobilization, supported by MONLAR and the People's Alliance for Right to Land. The sugar plantation would affect the livelihoods and land rights of over 2,700 families, who would no longer be able to cultivate land they have lived on for decades. The outcome of these struggles will have huge implications for the future of Sri Lanka's people and its rich biodiversity. The choice is simple: corporate profit or people and planet.
Thank you. Then now we will speak with Sajiva Chamikara, who will do a brief presentation. He will do it in Sinhala. So if you tune into the English channel, you should be able to hear the translation right now. So I'm going to share. Sajiva, please let me know if you can share the screen, or if not, I will share the presentation from here.
I think
Yes, we can see Sajiva if you want to start.
A very good evening for everyone. According to Sri Lankan time, it's විශේෂයෙන්ම ලංකාවේ
especially in Sri Lanka, when we talk about land struggles, I'll be speaking about the land struggles and the situation of land rights in Sri Lanka, especially today. In Sri Lanka currently, in Sri Lanka with regard to land grab, I apologize for the sound. Sajiv is not currently very clear. I am trying to talk about today on the land grabs as well as how as MONLAR sorry for the disturbance.
ලංකාව පුරාම සිදුවෙන ඉඩම් කොල්ලයන් නිත කිරීම වලට ලක් වෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව ඒ පිළිබඳව ජනතාව දැනුවත් කිරීම වගේම පුද්ගලයන් ජනතාව බලසතු කිරීම.
Currently, with MONLAR, we are working towards informing people with regard to land grabs and what is happening, as well as we are taking a legal standpoint on working towards or legally taking action with regard to these are the points that I will be talking about within my presentation. How is this happening? At the same time, what sort of strategies does MONLAR take? One point that we need to take into account is one is the military and economic land grabs that happens. One is how do we identify a land grab? Sorry, he's not clear again.
ඒ ක්‍රියාවලිය තුළදී පෞද්ගලික හෝ පොදු භාවිත, ඒ කියන්නේ කොමන්ස් විදියට හඳුන්වන පෞද්ගලික හෝ පොදු භාවිත මේ ඉඩම් වල අයිතිය අහිමි කිරීම කියන එක තමයි අපි ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන්ම සැලකිල්ලට ගන්නේ. ඊට අමතරව ඉඩම් කොල්ලේදී රටේ ස්වෛරී භාවය
how does land grab affect the country's sovereignty, as well as how does land grab violate human rights and fundamental rights, as well as environmental
මූලික අයිතිවාසිකම් උල්ලංඝනය කිරීම සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
And also with land grab, there is also there's also violations of environmental, social, and economic rights, which range from food sovereignty and so on. Our influence of MONLAR's work, when we look at it, we have identified land grab is not only coded to one area, but you need to look at it in a broader perspective. In Sri Lanka, if you look at our country, you can see that there is major diversity within rainfall and so on, especially zonal diversity, environmentally. And the next thing is
ගංගා ද්‍රෝණි ගත්තොත් river basin ගත්තොත් එහෙම නිසා විසින් ගොඩනගපු වැව් පද්ධතියක් තියෙනවා.
We have
ඊට අමතරව අපි
river
දන්නවා
basins, we have
inlet
many
fisheries,
tanks, man-made tanks,
සඳහා වැදගත් වෙන ක්‍රියාවලියක්
which
තියෙනවා.
there
මේ
is
සියලුම
inland
දේවල්
fishing
මේ
happening.
ඉඩම් පොළයක් එක්ක
So,
පදනම්
but
වෙනවා. මොකද
when
මේ
with
ඉඩම්
land
පොළේ
grabs, all of
හඳුනා
these
ගැනීම නිසා
affected
ඒවා විතරක්
as
නෙවෙයි,
well, and these
සියල්ලටම
also
බලපෑම් එල්ල වෙනවා.
can
ඉඩම්
be
පොළයන්
reasons
රජයේ
for the
මේ
land grab
පිළිබඳව
that
විශේෂයෙන්
happens.
අවධානය යොමු කරනවා.
It's important that we
ඊට
look at
ලංකාවේ
this
වනාවරණය
diversity when
ගත්තොත්
we
ඉතින්
look at
ස්වභාවික
land
වනාවරණය
grabbing. If you look at the
17ක
forest
වගේ
cover of
සීමාවක
Sri
දැක්ක
Lanka,
ස්වභාවික වනාන්තර ආවරණය
there's a 17% natural forest covering in
රක්ෂිත
Sri
කරලා
Lanka.
තියෙන්නේ විතර ප්‍රමාණයක්.
But only some of it has
එල්ල
been
වෙන
secured
බලපෑම්
through
පිළිබඳව
legal
විශේෂ
processes.
අවධානයට ලක් කරනවා. අනිත් පැත්තෙන් ශ්‍රී
On
ලංකාව
the other side,
අපි ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් විශේෂයෙන් අවධානයට ලක් කිරීමේ
when we look at Sri
වැදගත්
Lanka,
වෙන කරුණක්
especially,
තියෙනවා. ඒ කරුණ
a
තමයි
special point
විශේෂයෙන්ම
is
වැදගත් වෙනවා
that
ලෝක බැංකුව මගින්
the World
විවිධ
Bank,
අවස්ථාවලදී ප්‍රකාශයට
in
පත් කරන
different
වාර්තා
times, they have
සහ
said that
ඔවුන්ගේ නිර්දේශ අපි දන්නවා ලෝක
their
බැංකුවේ කෘෂිකර්ම හා
recommendations
ග්‍රාම
on
සංවර්ධන
Sri Lanka,
දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ
especially
අධ්‍යක්ෂ
on
රුවන්
agriculture
මෝහන්
and
පවසනවා
rural
විශේෂයෙන්ම දේශීය ඉඩම් අයිති තහවුරු
authorities
කිරීම හරහා
have
තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ
spoken about
ආයෝජන ශක්තිමත්
that
කරන්න පුළුවන්.
local
ඉතින්
land
මේවා
rights or ensuring
විශේෂයෙන්ම
local land
සැලකිල්ලට
rights
ගැනීම
will give
ලංකාවේ
or
ඉඩම්
will
පොළේ
make
හඳුනා
way
ගැනීමේදී
for
සහ ඉඩම්
foreign
පොළයන් වලට
investments.
පදනම්
But
ගොඩනැගීමේ
through that also
ඊට
we can
අමතරව අපි
see
දන්නවා
how this land grab
1996
is
ප්‍රකාශයට
connected
පත්
to
වෙච්ච ශ්‍රී
this.
ලංකා
In
non-plantation sector
1990, when we look at the report of
policy
the
authority කියන වාර්තාව මේ
non-plantation
වාර්තාවේදී
crop
පැහැදිලිවම
security
සඳහන්
policy
කරනවා
alternative
ලංකාවේ
report,
මේ
this
සුළු
report clearly
පරිමාණ
says
කෘෂිකර්මාන්තයේ වෙනුවට
that
මහා
the
පරිමාණ
small scale agriculture is frowned upon, and they have spoken about how commercial agriculture needs to increase. From those, you can see that these have influenced the current land grabbing system and the policies and the legalities that has come afterwards. And in many of these reports, it talks about how our resources can be connected to the economy or foreign investment. The 2015 World Bank report talks about mainly how major scale investments and development, how should these need to look at? And then we also have the IMF reports and the recommendations that came with the 2017 report, which talks about major scale cultivations and major scale commercial agriculture and investment. And also then in the IMF report, there's something important that it says is how does land should be opened up for more investments, and how should the legal processes should change in order to open land for more foreign investment. Now there is also the Belt and Road initiatives that has influenced this whole processes. So with all these processes within our country, I'm sorry, Sajiva isn't clear again. You can see how these have influences the different development projects that the government has put forth, and these development projects has always connected with the land grabbing that happened. So the development plans, especially the national physical plan that was developed 2 times, according to this plan, talks about investment and monocropping and specifying majority of the country's land for monocropping and foreign investment. So we need to identify this first, and there are various ways land grabs happen and how land rights have been violated. We have done research on how much land grabs take place and who are the perpetrators behind these land grabs. It's clear when we look at it that a major scale of or majority of people are affected in different forms of land grab. And also in the future, there is plans, especially with the many development projects, that many people will also lose their right to land and will be displaced. So you can see in the screen now, there are many perpetrators or stakeholders when we talk about land grabbing and Sri Lanka state. And as MONLAR, we have also talked about sorry, clear again. We have worked on many areas where the land struggle is continuing in different areas. And this we have seen is connected with the country's fiscal plan. We have the Bibile sugarcane project is planning to acquire 65,000 hectares of land in 2 provinces. There are many government authorities that is part and parcel of this. And currently MONLAR has, together with the people, the community, are conducting many activities to protect or to resist this acquisition of land. Importantly, we are trying to proclaim or try to ensure that people have land rights. Another thing is the Aura Lanka project in Anuradhapura, which hopes to acquire 140 lakhs of acres of land for aloe vera project. But here also we work with different organizations as well as trade unions, where we have been successfully in resisting these projects and halting them. We as a People's Planning Commission that is part of MONLAR has helped these struggles a lot in ensuring food security, in ensuring food sovereignty, and working towards resisting these land grabs that happen.
Thank you very much, Sajiva, for your presentation. Some of those points were also highlighted in the documentary and are a key issue. Land grabbing is one of the most important issues that Sri Lanka as an export-oriented country is facing at the moment. So I just want to remind the people, the participants, that you can type any questions that you have. I apologize for the audio quality, but you know, when there are connections from abroad, there are some challenges. But feel free to add some questions on the question and answers. We will have probably shorter sessions of Q&A at the end. But now we will go straight to the second documentary, and then we will hear from ATTAC and Ali on the Morocco case. So we can go ahead with the second documentary.
What is the true cost of the cheap imported tomatoes on our plates? Low-cost fruits and vegetables sold across supermarkets in the global north have a hidden price. Super low wages for global south workers. Labour does not just come cheap, it is cheapened. Repressive states and corporate agribusiness in the global north and south clamp down on trade unions and workers organising for better wages and working conditions. This is where the true cost of low-priced tomatoes is paid.
العمال والعاملات اللي كيشتغلوا في الموقف كيشتغلوا في واحد الظروف ما نقدرش نوصفها لك كي دايره. هذوك المنتجين اللي كيصيفطوا هذوك السماسره للموقف كيجي تيصيفط السمسار للموقف ولا السمساره وتيعطيها واحد المبلغ هي باش تلقط ليه اجي انت راه قدرتي تخدمي، اجي انت راه قدرتي تخدمي، اجي انت هذا سميتو، وكيجي لهم ورغم ذلك تيخدم في واحد الحقره، كتخدم في واحد الحقره ما نقولكش عليها، وما عندهم حتى خدمه ما كايناش مضمونه، حتى خدمه عندهم ما كايناش مضمونه، وتيخدموا تحت واحد الضغط لا تغطيه صحيه لا حتى بلا خدمه مضمونه في البلاصه اللي غاديين ليها. كيديك هذا اليوم ويخلصك داك النهار ديال 70 درهم، واللي هو ما كيسواش داك النهار 70 درهم، راه كيسوا اكثر، ولكن هو كيخلصك الثمن اللي بغا هو ديال 70 درهم، وهو راه مخرج من الكتافك اكثر من 70,000 درهم اللي هو تيخرج من الكتافك. واش تصور دابا الدري صغير عنده 14 عام مازال كيديو دابا من الموقف يخدم، واش تصور دابا البنت دابا عندها 12 عام مازال غتمشي للموقف دابا تخدم راه خدامه.
Morocco is one of the European Union's major vegetable gardens, sending 92% of its vegetable exports across the Mediterranean Sea, with tomatoes alone accounting for 43% of all vegetables sent to the EU. In the UK, 25% of all tomatoes and 20% of all fruits consumed come from Morocco. These crops bound for export are concentrated in Morocco's fertile Souss region, where 22,300 hectares of available agricultural land is cultivated for fruit and vegetables, with 13,385 hectares under greenhouse cover, half of which is dedicated to tomato cultivation. Early ripening fruits are a rare and valuable commodity for exports. In this region, they represent approximately 78% of Morocco's exports of early fruits and vegetables.
وهذه اللي كتزيد كنشوفوا ارباح كينتجوها هاد البلاد، ولكن ملي كنرجعوا نقلبوا على فين كيعيشوا هاد العمال والعاملات كنلقاوهم في اماكن يعني كيف ما كنقولوا السيمه من التحت والسيمه من الفوق، هما وسط منها بدون ان هاد السكن هذا ما كيصونش الكرامه ديال الانسان. بالنسبه للاوضاع ديال العاملات والعمال الزراعيين، حنا كنعرفوا ان منطقه الشتوكاء بها كيتمركزوا فيها المستثمرين الكبار في القطاع الفلاحي والشركات الكبرى متعدده الجنسيه يعني، ولكن هنا كنشوفوا هذوك العمال والعاملات اللي كيلتجؤوا لدوك الشركات باش يخدموا باش كيصدروا دوك الثروه الفلاحيه اللي كتخرج من بلادنا على الصحه ديالهم. بالنسبه للسكن ما كاينش عندهم سكن لائق اللي كيصون كرامه هاد العمال، لا سكن لا صحه لا تعليم، حتى حاجه ما كتوفر، لا بنيه تحتيه لا حتى شي حاجه ما كتوفر في مناطق في المناطق العيش ديالهم. وكذلك كنساء اللي كيتعرضوا في محطات التلفيف والضيعات الفلاحيه للتحرشات الجنسيه من طرف سواء الزملاء ديالهم او المسؤولين، واللي هو زايد صعيب في هذا التحرش هو النساء ما كيقدروش يهضروا على هذا التحرش، حيث ما كايناش قوانين حقيقيه اللي كتجرم هذا التحرش بالنسبه للنساء. وكذلك اي مبادره من المراه انها كتنوض وتهضر وتقول انها تحرش بها شي حد كتعرض للطرد او لا كتعرض لانها كيقطعوا هذاك المصدر ديال العيش ديالها. وهذا اللي كيخلي اغلبيه العاملات انهم يتحملوا، وهذا ما كتوفرش فيه شروط الكرامه، كتمس الكرامه ديال النساء العاملات بهذا الخصوص، وما كيقدروش يهضروا عليه حيت ما كيقدروش يثبتوا الاثباتات انهم تعرضوا لهذا التحرش. وهذا اللي كيبين او اللي كيبان في الاحتجاجات ديال المكاتب النقابيه، وفي يعني في الاحتجاجات ديالهم اللي كيديروا، وكيبين هذا الشيء، هذا كيبين هذا الوضع اللي كيعيشوه.
ATTAC Maroc and the North African Network for Food Sovereignty are partners of War and Want and have denounced the conditions of agricultural workers in the country. One of the Moroccan members of the North African Network is the Democratic Union of Agriculture, which is an important organiser and defender of farm workers in the Souss region.
اللي خصنا نعرفوه هو الارتباط اللي كاين بين الهجوم الكبير اللي كيتزاد بسرعه على الحقوق ديال العاملات والعمال الزراعيين ومحاربه الحق النقابي بالوضع الوطني اللي كيبان في جائحه كوفيد 19 واللي استغلوا اصحاب الشركات باش يشدوا اكثر ديال المساهمات والتسهيلات باش يضمنوا الارباح ديالهم. هذا الشيء في الوقت اللي كتعاني فيه الحركه النقابيه المغربيه من ضعف كبير وما قدراتش تعطي منظور اللي كيجاوب على تحديات جائحه كوفيد 19 وما قدراتش تنظم واحد الحد الادنى من المقاومه اللي غيمنع ان الطبقه العامله والفئات الشعبيه تحمل الازمه الصحيه ديال الناتجه عن كوفيد 19.
Despite the current challenges, there is hope. In 2021, the Democratic Union of Agriculture developed and adopted a comprehensive series of agricultural policy demands that, if implemented, will protect workers in the agricultural sector.
النقابة كندافعوا على أنه خص هذه السياسة الفلاحية توجه أولاً نحو تلبية الحاجيات الأساسية الغذائية الأساسية للشعب المغربي، وكذلك خص العاملين في القطاع الفلاحي يكون عندهم أوضاع اجتماعية وأوضاع ديال الأجور اللي يعني تناسب واحد العيش لائق وكريم، وكذلك أنه هادشي كله كيندرج في المشروع ديال السيادة الغذائية. حنا كنقابة كذلك كنتبناو هذا المشروع ديال السيادة الغذائية اللي فيه في الحقيقة هو هذا، أن المنتجين الحقيقيين سواء الفلاحين جميع العاملين والبحارة والغابويين والعمال الزراعيين كلهم هادو يكون عندهم رأي فضاء فين يعبروا على السياسات، الرأي ديالهم في السياسات الفلاحية وكيفاش فعلا نقرروا هذه السياسة الفلاحية بما يخدم كما قلت يعني تلبية الحاجيات الضرورية الغذائية الضرورية للشعب ديالنا.
Moroccan fruit and vegetables are not cheap because of supply and demand, so-called natural economic processes. They are a desired commodity because they are made to be cheap, and that cheapness does not come without a price. It rests on producers lowering their costs by lowering workers' wages, subjecting workers to inhumane working conditions, and by dismantling workers' struggles to defend their rights and wages.
المشروع ديال السيادة الغذائية اللي هو النقيض ديال هذا المشروع يعني ديال هذه السياسة الفلاحية التصديرية. لهذا احنا في النقابة ديالنا انخرطنا في التنسيقية ديال شبكة شمال افريقيا للسيادة الغذائية واللي تأسست في 2019 في في المقر ديال فيدرالية النقابات الديمقراطية بأكادير، وكنسقوا مع منظمات اخرين وجمعيات اخرين بكل بالبلدان ديال المنطقه ديال شمال افريقيا، منهم مصر تونس والجزائر، على اساس انه يكون تقويه التضامن بين مختلف هذه القاعده الشعبيه ديال السياده الغذائيه اللي هما البحاره، صغار البحاره، صغار الفلاحين، العمال الزراعيين والغابويين والرعاة الى اخره. وكذلك هذا التضامن على المستوى ديال شمال افريقيا وكذلك حتى على المستوى العالمي، دونك اللي باش يكون هذا التضامن والاستفاده وتبادل ديال التجارب بين مختلف يعني التجارب اللي كتناضل من اجل المشروع ديال السياده الغذائيه.
Those struggling require international solidarity, especially from those at the other end of the supply chain. People in the global north who consume these products must recognise and understand the suffering that goes into the price of cheap imported tomatoes in local supermarkets.
شوفوا، أنا عاملة زراعية، كنطالب بالحقوق ديالنا، وكنطالب هاد المسؤولين هاد الشركات وهاد الفارم اللي كينهبوا حق الخدام وكياكلوا ليه تيغرات ديالو. حنا كنوضوا مع 4 ديال الصباح، كنتكرفسوا، كنتعرضوا للشمس، كنتعرضوا للبرد، كنتعرضوا للضغوطات، كنتعرضوا لاي حاجه كيما كان النوع ديالها كنتعرضوا ليها. حنا خدامين، شوفوا كنجيبوا السلعه، كنجيبوا كلشي اللي قالوها لينا كنديروها. حنايا هاد الناس هادو دايريننا بحال شي عبيد، كيتعسفوا علينا، كنتعرضوا للتحرش، كنتعرضوا للطرد التعسفي، كنتعرضوا لشحال من حاجه. ولكن حنا واخا هكاك غنبقاو عاملات مناضلات. انا كنطلب جميع العاملات المناضلين ينوضوا، يهضروا على حقوقهم، ما يسكتوش.
Together, workers and consumers can create the pressure on those profiting from the current food system to change it.
I would like to invite ATTAC Fizazi, who is the member of the SDA Union, that you have also seen in the video, in the documentary. So to tell us a little bit the main struggles, and then we will also pass the word to Ali Asnag for a short presentation. So ATTAC, can you hear us? ATTAC?
عتيقة كتسمعين؟
وي راني حاضرة معكم. السلام عليكم. علي إلا كنتو كتسمعوني كاملين.
Here, can you hear me?
أمين كتسمعها؟
Yes. كنسمعوه.
تفضلي عتيقة، تفضلي.
عتيقة, you have the floor. I think the problem is that her microphone is off.
Tika, I'm going to check. I think Tika's having some problems with connection because it's her account is dropping in and out, so she's not online at the moment. Ali, you want to You want to start in the meantime your presentation and share the presentation yourself, and then once Attica is back, I will.
اوكي شكرا جزيلا. انا اسمي علي.
Thank you so much. I am Ali Azna, Morocco, member of ATTAC Morocco, coordinator of North African Network on Food Sovereignty. First, to begin with, in my presentation, I will talk about the situation of workers and the resistance strategies, but to begin with, documentary that we have seen on Sri Lanka mentioned that the agricultural model, food agricultural model adopted currently, addressed to profits gain more than feeding the population, which is a very right idea we share with our colleagues in Sri Lanka. Also, we have worked, I want to give you another idea. We have worked in 2019 with World War Foundation on a documentary on land grabbing. The documentary is entitled Oh Land. I will share with you this documentary so that all participants see the same issues exist, and it is underway in discussion in this platform, that we can see that we have similar problems in Morocco with this capitalist system that seeks only gains. And for us in Morocco, agriculture in Morocco has witnessed and passed through many stages where we've had many agricultural plans. There is the green plan and the green generation with the target to convert in Moroccan agriculture to exporting capitalist agriculture addressed to the markets, European markets and the UK market, as we saw in the documentary on the workers in Morocco. There are a lot of exploitation features in Shuka Isbaha stations. But briefly, for 4 minutes, I will talk about the exportation of Moroccan exportation destinations and how they reach European supermarkets. Moroccan exports address primarily to European countries with a rate of more than 98% of vegetable exportation, and on top of which tomato, which accounts for 43%, all addressed to European markets. For UK, fruits and vegetables in 2020 accounted for 33% of overall exports from Morocco, according to UK embassy in Rabat. And under the partnership convention between UK and Morocco, Moroccan experts can export 47,000 and 10 tons of tomato with preferential rates or prices in comparison to other markets. The main corporations that export exist are based in Morocco. There are many of them. I will give you just 2 examples, 2 illustrations, so that you have an overview. Station in Shuka Isbaha region, domains neighbor, recruiting, employing 7,500 workers to Europe and UK through the company Riscos, which is the biggest communication company in the world. There is a mega company exporting to 120,000 tons of tomato in 1922 to Europe, UK, and Russia. And it's Azora. These are the main companies, and there is Derop, but these are just examples of exporting corporations to UK and Europe. As I said before, Morocco has passed, agriculture in Morocco has passed through many plans throughout the independence, gaining independence. $10.5 US billion were mobilized for these agricultural plans, the green plan and the green generation. The outcome, unfortunately, is disastrous for workers and also for the small farmers. They did not benefit from those projects. Proof of that is that the individual revenue in just does not exceed $150 per month. So the outcome, the individual outcome, is very poor for villagers. For their wage does not exceed $203 per month. So these agricultural policies are a real failure because they did not cover the revenues from exports throughout 10 years through these plans. 48% of food exports accounting, including cereal, that accounts for only 45% agriculture. There is exploitation, there is the policies of exploitation, commercial and industrial, exploitation to Europe and UK, and also foreign exploitation mainly of women, and also there is a resistance, social resistance by workers, agricultural workers in Shuka Itbah. And on top of this resistance strategy by workers, there are four main points I will mention briefly. First, defending the rights to unionist work activity. Workers work on education of workers through the trainings of workers on unionist activity. Also, there is solidarity work solidarity that is cross-continental among all those who undergo damages, and also for working with the victims on against the global capitalist policies. In Sri Lanka and Morocco, we need to wage a joint campaign to denounce these policies for real food sovereignty of people. Thank you. Thank you all. Sorry if I have been long.
Thank you, Ali. And yes, just as a quick observation, there is like a common thread in all these issues from Sri Lanka to Morocco. The common thread of economies set up exclusively for export and not to feed their own population. So from the plantation sector in Sri Lanka, and the case of the land grabs, to the problem of export of agricultural products for the European and the British market. So there is an issue of lack of sovereignty, of people sovereignty. And this is obviously affecting the rights of workers as well. So I can see Attica is back. I hope that the connection works and we can hear from her another couple of minutes and talk about the strategies and experiences from the perspective of the trade union. Attica, are you there? Atika? I think she has dropped out. No, there she is. Atika?
عتيقة أنا كتسمعينا ممكن تكلمي.
I think you have to unmute.
عتيقة الميكروفون ديالك ما خدامش إلا كتسمعيني.
Atika, can you unmute yourself?
السلام عليكم وقيلا عندي لا كونيكسيون اللي ثقيله.
Maybe I have an issue with the connectivity. Hi everyone.
We can hear you now. Thank you.
علي السلام عليكم كتسمعوني؟
Can you hear me? We can hear you. Can hear you. Thank you. Greetings to you all. Thank you for having me. As we have watched in the documentary, those were some of the sufferings of workers, men and women. And the documentary maybe does not show the real suffering underwent by workers in agriculture. But there is a high rate of suffering showcased in that documentary. And the concept of video is to denounce and showcase the suffering of workers in those huge multinational plantations. Well, they work for exports. The majority of crops produced by workers are exported abroad, but the investors say that they work in an atmosphere to preserve the dignity and health of workers. But this is our real life as Moroccan workers, especially in the region with a very huge and abhorrent suffering and exploitation. And that exploitation, in order to improve under the crisis of COVID-19, there were more exploitation by our employers towards agricultural workers, which urged us and pushed us as activists in the Democratic Union to have as our goals to have training and education towards workers, mainly women. In the Sousse region, the majority of workers are women. More than 70% of agricultural workers are women. And they are intensively exploited easily by the agricultural employers because they seek non-educated people, which is much spread among women workers, and which is used by employers to intensify exploitation. And the Moroccan state helped them through legislation passed against the rights of women and men and workers, men and women. And we struggle against this situation, and we try our utmost to denounce the suffering and showcase it for more awareness and more struggle to improve their status, because their condition faces, as showcased in the documentary, are deprived of any healthy conditions and safety conditions and decent life for the work classes. And here we can see that our employers are keen only on improving their gains and accumulating fortunes and wealth, and not workers' health, as we saw. They are pesticized, pulverized without any safety conditions, without any personal protection equipment, and the huge farmers do not take into account our suffering, but only their own margin of profit. And this shows that this is why they find the trade unions, why to exploit workers intensively more and more, because what they think about is only gain to profit. and the unionist awareness harms their interests, but because they are only keen on exploiting workers, and we are insisting on our struggles to achieve our claims and rights as activists, men and women. We insist on our rights and to gain back our rights in this sector where only profit is taken into consideration. Occasional diseases are not taken into account, like the pulverized pesticides and our sufferings, and there is more pressure exerted by the state and authorities. The employers and the state are unified against workers to intensify exploitation, insisting that this campaign should not exist, and so that exploitation goes on. And if the woman worker decided to struggle and to adhere to trade unions, they are fired. We have seen a lot of these examples in Shuka region intensively. Many unionists, mainly among women workers, since the majority of workers are women, they insist that they should be non-educated and non-aware in order not to defend their rights, so that they can exploit them relentlessly and continuously, and the profit margin should be higher and higher. And we can see that training sessions and workers' awareness is the most important weapon to fight and struggle and gain back our rights and our dignity. And we can see as workers, men and women, that these plantations exporting agriculture does not serve us, because after COVID-19 to date, our situation is getting worse and worse, because we do not benefit from these investments. Our wages are very poor. The wages do not provide us decent livelihood, and the prices are higher and higher. Prices of food are higher and higher, and so our wages are not proportionate to the prices on the market. So the agricultural worker and the small peasants and small seafarers and fishers, they need to defend their own rights. The capitalist classes can only their gains. And sorry if I've been long.
Well, thank you so much, ATTAC, for this testimony and for showing the importance that the women workers are having in this particular sector of the export of fruits and vegetables from Morocco, and the importance of the organizing of through the trade unions like the union you belong to. And even in the most in the hardest moment of crisis that we are going through from the north to the south, I think that international solidarity should be there, because it's one of the moments in which we need to be more active and aware of what is going around the world and how everything is connected in one way or the other. So thank you so much, ATTAC, for your contribution. And we are a little bit late at the moment, so what I was thinking, maybe we can answer to one of the questions that haven't been answered and wrap up the session. I'm going to leave some links also where you can see the testimonies of, you can rewatch both documentaries in the link to our Profiting from Hunger report, so feel free to share it with your contacts, and the testimonies of ATTAC and other workers will be there. And please keep in touch, because one of the goals is also to show real solidarity with all our partners that are working to build a different food system based on the principles of food sovereignty. There is one quick question that I'm reading here from Jerry, and it's: do you expect that the fall of dollar hegemony and the rise of BRICS will improve the situation of commodification of our homes? And this is actually a very key question, because many of the countries that are dedicated to export-oriented agriculture are doing it because their economy is tied to the US dollar in order to pay for debts, like the case of Sri Lanka, that have run out of foreign reserves last year to pay for trade, etc. So, in my opinion, this is one of the key aspects that we will see in the next year, and it will be interesting to see how different countries react. But I'll open also to the other panelists, Jiva, Lee, ATTAC, if you have, if you want to answer live to this question or anything about the dependency on the US dollar. If you have any anything to add, please do so, and then we will try to wrap up in another 5 minutes. So if you don't have anything to add at the moment, I'll close it. We will close this session. I'm posting some links now here in the chat. Please read our report, share it with your contacts, and watch the documentaries and share. It is very important to bring awareness to the struggles that organizations like MONLAR, this SDA, SIADA Network, and ATTAC are carrying forward. And we are all part of this big struggle, and internationalism is very important, international solidarity. So if I'm going to close now the session, I just wanted to remind to the participants who are still here that we will have the second part of the webinar next Tuesday, 25th, and we will have the testimony of other two of our partners, KPL from Kenya, and we will talk about the issue of pesticides, which is also one of the issues that have been raised by ATTAC on the exposure of hazardous pesticides imported from countries like UK and the EU. And the other testimony will be from BFLF and JKSS from Bangladesh, and who are working on issues of climate adaptation in agriculture, so farmer strategies for adaptation. So feel free to share the link for registration to your contacts, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday, everyone. And I want to thank again Ali, Sajiva, ATTAC for participating and for bringing their knowledge and testimonies. And if you have any questions further, please write to us, and we will also forward them to the speakers. And we are more than happy to provide more information about any of the topics that you have heard today. Thank you very much. and goodbye.